Hello everyone, my name is Mike and I am the co-founder of the Wanda Pratnicka Center. In today's episode, we're going to talk about what happens to the soul after it is crossing the border between the physicality and the spirituality, mainly between the physical level and the emotional level. The main problem today is that many souls are not crossing to the other side. And therefore, the number of the souls who are staying suspended between heaven and earth is constantly growing. It means that we have an additional problem that is originating from the fact that if we are allowing ourselves to go into negativity for some reason, which is valid for most people incarnated on earth right now, then the chance to connect to those beings is growing dramatically. And that is why we have so many problems, emotional problems at the moment in the physical world. And the intensity of those problems is growing constantly. There is just a huge mass of wandering spirits that are staying behind, and for this reason or the other, and I will explain why, they don't decide to go to God. The main reason here will be the lack of knowledge and, first of all, awareness, and that is why I am constantly repeating: know yourself, know your thoughts, know your emotions. Only then you will be able to recognize what is happening to you emotionally and in your thoughts, and then you will be able to understand how you are creating your reality. Many souls who have crossed to the other side, they just don't know they are dead in the physical sense. They just overlooked their own death. They think they are still alive. The point here is that they see the world as they were used to see it during physical lifetime. They are just looking around and they see physical reality. That's what they think. But in reality, they see the astral component, the emotional variation of the physical world. That is because the emotional world is an exact copy of the physical world. And so they think they can still function in the physical world. The problem here is that the sick, for example, or the elderly, all of the sudden they feel rejuvenated. This is because they just went to the other world where there is so much more energy. They just oversee that they went into a new world where there is so much more energy than on the physical level. In the beginning, they are not able to see other souls that are in exactly that same situation. So every moment of their further existence is just reinforcing the belief that they are still alive physically. And we're talking here about people who are dying also in our family, our parents, our friends. So they are able to connect to us over emotional channels. They are just experiencing their emotionality and we are experiencing our emotionality, but they are able to see our emotionality very exactly. A problem here is that many souls are not going who are going through sudden death. I am talking here about people who were young and healthy and were, for example, gone in an accident. We have so many accidents in our world, like car accidents, like planes are crashing. So they had not any expectation of what may come for them. There was not even a moment to think about what is happening to them during the accident. And so for them there was only a short blink of an eye between life and death. A huge problem with such souls is that they absolutely refuse to hear that they are no longer alive. They are very much afraid of the dying itself. And now someone is coming and telling them, look, you are no longer present on the physical level. You have died physically. Then, even though they are already on the other side, they are saying to themselves, no, this cannot be true. I want my life. Also, for many people, death is the end of everything. They don't believe in the continuation of life. They just have believed something else, living on the physical level. Many souls during the transition process between life and death, they are really confused. And sometimes they are also in altered states of consciousness. Like they are lying in bed, for example, for a long time, and then they are expecting death to come. But they are more and more in that process going into a state of being heavily confused about the dying process and about the death itself. Many people who are terminally ill, they are on strong painkillers. The altered states of consciousness are also applying for the drug addicts and for alcoholics. So when such people are dying physically, they need a really long time to understand that they already passed through the process of death. And if that moment arises, if that moment comes, they still don't know anything about life after death. So they just don't know how to behave. They don't know what choices are for them when they are on the other side. They sometimes think that they even are no choices at all. So they keep being, and that is to their great disadvantage. That is why it is so important to know about the death and the dying process, because we just get a map about what is going to happen after we have crossed to the other side. Then there is a large group of souls who are not crossing to the other side because of fear, guilt, and the lack of love. Many souls are afraid of the punishment for sins. Sometimes they lived a very good life, and sometimes they have minor sins, but they believed in a cruel and vengeful God. They sometimes did almost nothing but feel unworthy of forgiveness. And despite there is a wonderful assistance, there are guides coming, loved ones are coming, they see the light, they are turning away. They just don't believe God could forgive them, and they couldn't forgive themselves. There is a great metaphor when it comes to heaven and the train that is going into heaven after we have just put away our physical body, the code that we were living in on the physical level. So the train is going to heaven and everyone is invited and everyone gets a free ticket. But there is one condition: you need to feel worthy for the entering of this train. You need to say to yourself, yes, even though I did what I did, even though there may be many sins on my shoulders, I still believe in the love of God who has forgiven me everything already, and then you can go. And for those who cannot do that, they will stay at the station. They could have go on board, were invited and refused because of fear. Their transgressions may be really minor, like eating meat on Friday or missing a mass. Some have heavily sins, and everything here is happening only because of the fact what you think about yourself. If you are thinking that you are a sinful individual and that God has not forgiven you, you will stay, and then an awful destiny awaits you, which I have already spoken about in previous episodes. Another source of problems is the lack of self-love. Who is loving themselves? They won't hurt themselves or others. They believe in God and forgive like a God. They can forgive themselves and they can also forgive others for what they did. Who doesn't love themselves? They can't love anyone. Who is hating everything and everyone will hate himself and God too. Such people feel bad, see only evil, and do evil. They are thinking, I'm bad, so my father is also bad, and he won't forgive me nor anyone. It is very unfortunate, but at the present moment we live in a world without love. This will pass. This is not going to stay forever. But at the moment it is just like that. And such world without love doesn't know what love is. Love means God, but so many people are not believing in God. World without love is very cruel. And who lives in his mind in a cruel world, he becomes cruel. They don't forgive, they don't sympathize. They're saying eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. And that becomes a vicious circle. And here is the paradox. Love, which is the greatest power in the world, of good, here means weakness. They are saying, you are loving, you are so weak. That needs to change. The time is now. The world is shifting from the world of cruelty into the world of love. The change is slow at the moment, but it will speed up even more. Although we have so many changes at the moment, we see that all around us the world is changing dramatically. This is because the turmoil that is originating out of that is because we are turning from the world of cruelty into the world of love. This will pop up many fears in us. This is the main reason why the souls are not going away from this world. This will change because the evolution is not waiting for those who are not willing to go further and further on the road to higher vibrations. A great way out of that situation is forgiveness. Miraculously, death and the considerations about death are a perfect opportunity to break the circle of evil. It is time for forgiving yourself, others, even God. Those who remain alive can forgive, so it is never too late. When you are on the other side, you are only receiving the consequences of your choices while being here physically on earth. This forgiveness process would greatly help us, people living on the physical level, but it would also greatly help those ones who are already on the other side. I will make stop here and I will deepen this knowledge in the next episode. Until then, bye bye.